Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Wednesday, September 20th, 2023. Today we'll go over the baseball games from yesterday. Look ahead to today's games. We have WNBA playoff game, 2s to go over, and then we have a game 3 tonight. We have soccer to talk about since we didn't do that yesterday. College football thoughts through the first several weeks of the season. We have news and notes and best bet. We'll start with baseball. We have results to go over from yesterday, and then we have today to look forward to. Rays over the Angels 6-2. Twins over the Reds 7-0. Marlins over the Mets 4-3. Blue Jays over the Yanks 7-1. Nats over the White Sox 4-3. Braves over the Phillies 9-3. Royals over the Guardians 7-6. Cubs over the Pirates 14-1. Brewers over the Cardinals 7-3. Rangers over the Red Sox 6-4. Orioles over the Astros 9-5. Mariners over the Athletics 7-2. D-backs over the Giants 8-4. Padres over the Rockies 2-0. So best bet was a loser. And the Dodgers over the Tigers 3-2. All right, we have games today. It's 12:20. We have the Phillies at the Braves. Aaron Nola and Bryce Edler. Just want to pull up the odds very quickly. The Braves are minus 152. The Phillies are plus 128. Over under 9.5. Overs minus 115. Unders minus 105. Phillies plus 1.5 is minus 160. Braves minus 1.5 is plus 130. I like the under a lot in this game. 12:30 Twins Reds. Bailey Ober and Hunter Green. I don't know why, but this game is locked on FanDuel right now. So if the total's anything higher than 8.5, I'll take the under. Next is at 1 o'clock the White Sox at the Nats. Michael Kopech and Josiah Gray. Nats minus 130. White Sox plus 110. Over under 9. Overs minus 120. Unders minus 102. White Sox plus 1.5 is minus 184. Nats minus 1.5 is plus 152. I'm going White Sox outright, plus 110. And by the way, the Twins-Reds odds. Reds minus 116. Twins minus 102. Over under 9. Overs minus 104. Unders minus 118. Twins minus 1.5 is plus 155. Reds plus 1.5 is minus 188. I like the under a lot. Like I said earlier. 2 o'clock Red Sox Rangers. Brian Balow and John Gray. Rangers minus 142. Red Sox plus 120. Over under 9. Overs minus 102. Unders minus 120. Boston plus 1.5 is minus 170. Rangers minus 1.5 is plus 140. This is an interesting one. The Rangers need the game, obviously. So for this one, I'm going to go with over 4.5 Ranger ones at minus 113. Orioles Astros, Kyle Bradish and Christian Javier. Astros minus 112, Orioles minus 104, over under 9, minus 1 each way. O's minus 1.5 is plus 158. Astros plus 1.5 is minus 192. So Orioles favor on the run line, Astros favor on the money line. Give me the Orioles minus 104. Guardians Royals, Lucas Giolito and Zach Greinke. Guardians minus 154, Royals plus 130, over under 9, overs even money, unders minus 122. Guardians minus 1.5 is plus 108, Royals plus 1.5 is minus 130. That's a hard one. If I'm going to go with the full game over. 3:30 Mariners A's. George Kirby and Joey Estes, and Estes is making his debut. Mariners minus 255, A's plus 210, over under 8, overs minus 120, unders minus 102. M's minus 1.5 is minus 146. A's plus 1.5 is plus 122. For this one, I'm going to go with under 2.5 A's runs at plus 120. Giants Diamondbacks. Logan Webb and Merrill Kelly. D-backs minus 112. Giants minus 104, over under 7.5. Overs minus 132. Unders even money. Giants minus 1.5 is plus 180. D-backs plus 1.5 is minus 120. I'm going with the Diamondbacks. Minus 112. They need the game. The Giants have kind of fallen out of it a little bit. 4 o'clock, Rockies, Padres. Chase Anderson, Seth Lugo. Padres minus 290, Rocks plus 235, over under 8.5, overs minus 114, unders minus 106. Rocks plus 1.5 is plus 108, Padres minus 1.5 is minus 130. I'm going to go with the over. 6:30, Angels Rays. Reed Detmers and Aaron Savali. Rays minus 20, Angels plus 184, over under 8, minus 120 each way. Angels plus 1.5 is minus 120, Rays minus 1.5 is even money. I'm going Rays run line again only because I just don't trust the Angels. Fox Sports 1, Mets Marlins, Cody Senga and Yuri Perez. Marlins minus 118, Mets even money, over under 7, overs minus 132, unders even money. Mets minus 1.5 is plus 184, Marlins plus 1.5 is minus 225. Mets favored on the run line, Maryland's favored on the money line. I'm going with the Marlins at minus 118. They're playing better than the Mets right now. 7 o'clock, Blue Jays Yankees. Kevin Gausman and Michael King. Michael King's done a nice job since going into the rotation. The Jays are favored, though, minus 124. Yankees are plus 106, over under 7.5. Overs even money, unders minus 122. Jays minus 1.5 is plus 134. Yankees plus 1.5 is minus 162. So the Yankees stinker last night. They're due for a stinker after a nice little run. I mean, fans believe that they were a sleeper to get back into the race. This is a hard one. But I'm going to go with this is such a hard one to do. Just because the Blue Jays need the game, and go with the Blue Jays on the run line. Even though, again, the Yankees are favored on ESPN Analytics. 7:30, Pirates, Cubs. Mitch Keller and Justin Steele. Mitch Keller fell apart after a good start to the season. The Cubs are minus 178. Pittsburgh's plus 150, over under 8, minus 10 each way. Pirates plus 1.5 is minus 144. Cubs minus 1.5 is plus 120. I like the under. 7:45, Brewers, Cardinals. Adrian Hauser and Zach Thompson. It's a pick of minus 180 each way, over under 8.5. Overs minus 132. Unders even money. Brewers minus 1.5 is plus 150. Cards plus 1.5 is minus 182. I like the Brewers straight up minus 108. They need the game. And then 10 o'clock, the Tigers at the Dodgers. Reese Olson, Bobby Miller. Dodgers minus 150. Tigers plus 205, over under 8. Minus 110 each way. Tigers plus 1.5 is minus 106. Dodgers minus 1.5 is minus 113. I like the over, but I do not feel so strong about it. All right, the WNBA playoffs. We have results to go over, and we have one game tonight. It's game 3. Liberty over the Mystics, 90-85 in overtime, so the Mystics cover game 2, but they fall short. The Liberty advanced to the next round, which is the quarterfinals. Brianna Stewart had 27 points, and Natasha Cloud had 33 and 9 assists for Washington. And the Wings over to Dream 101-74 to complete the sweep. Arike Ogunbowale, 20 points and 7 assists. And Ryan Howard had 21 for Atlanta. So, impressive win for the Stars, or the Wings. And they're on to the next round. Next up, tonight, 8 o'clock on ESPN, you have the Sun and the Lynx. Game 3, the only series to go the distance. It's a big one, obviously. The Sun are giving 5.5. Total is 157.5. I'm going to go with the Lynx. I picked them to win the series. And I picked them in 3. And they're a pretty big underdog at home. So I'm going with the Mystics plus 5.5 and plus 186 to win the game outright. All right, now move on to soccer. We'll go over the results from the last several days, and then look ahead to anything going on today. We'll start with the Premier League. From Monday, Nottingham Forest and Burnley, 1-1 draw. Liga MX, Pachuca over Santos, 3-2. On Monday and tonight at 10 o'clock, you have Querétaro and America. America minus 125, Querétaro 3-1. The draws plus 280. I'm going to go with the under 2.5 goals at minus 104. La Liga, Monday, Girona over Granada 4-2. Serie A from Monday, Torino over Salernitana 3-0, and Verona Bologna 0-0 draw. I do not think we had Dutch Eredivisie. We did not, but we do have it on Friday, which we don't see often. All right, we have USL tonight, 7 o'clock on ESPN Plus. You have Miami and Louisville. And I think we have MLS tonight too, which is fun. Miami plus 175, Louisville plus 135. The draws plus 230. I'm going to go with Louisville plus 135. 8 o'clock, Birmingham, Memphis. Birmingham plus 125, Memphis plus 175. The draws plus 250. We'll go with the draw plus 250. 10 o'clock, Monterrey Bay and San Diego. Monterrey plus 170, San Diego plus 130, draw plus 240. I'm going with Monterrey with the upset plus 170 at home. Sacramento, New Mexico. Sacramento minus 185, New Mexico plus 410. The draw is 3-1. I'm going to go with this one over 3.5 goals plus 150. And 10:30 Phoenix and Indy. Phoenix minus 135, Indy 3-1. The draws plus 270. I am going to go with under 2.5 goals at minus 106. UEFA Champions League. We have results to go over. RP Leipzig over Young Boys 3-1. Milan Newcastle 0-0 draw. FC Porto over Shakhtar 3-1. PSG over Dortmund 2-0. Man City over Red Star 3-1. Lazio and Atletico 1-1 draw. Feyenoord over Celtic 2-0. And Barcelona over Antwerp 5-0. All right, today it's 12:45. Real Madrid and Union Berlin. Really good game. Real Madrid minus 40, Union Berlin 6-1. The draw is 370. I'm going to go with under 2.5 goals plus 118. Galatasaray and Copenhagen. Galatasaray minus 155. Copenhagen plus 420. The draw is 3-1. I'm going to go under 2.5 goals plus 106. 3 o'clock, Braga and Napoli. Napoli minus 135. Braga 340. Draws 3-1. I'm going to go under 2.5 goals plus 118. Sevilla and Lens. Sevilla minus 105. Lens 3-1. Draws plus 240. I'm going to go Sevilla minus 105. Don't feel good about it. Real Sociedad and Inter Milan. Sociedad plus 210, Inter plus 140, draw plus 210. I'm going Inter at plus 140. Arsenal PSV. Arsenal minus 250, PSV 6-1, the draw is 4-1. I'm going to go with over 3.5 goals plus 140. Benfica and Salzburg. Oh. Benfica minus 240, Salzburg 6-1, the draw is plus 380. I'm going to go with the draw plus 380. Don't feel good about it. And last but not least, Bayern and Man United. Bayern's minus 20, Man United's 5-1. The draw's 4-1. I can't believe Man United is that big of a dog. I'm going to go with the draw at 4-1. And then we also have English League Championship to go over. From yesterday, Bristol City over Plymouth 4-1. Cardiff over Coventry 3-2. Preston over Birmingham 2-1. QPR Swansea 1-1 draw. Ipswich over Southampton 1-0. And Sheffield Wednesday over Borough. I'm sorry, that's a 1-1 draw. And then today we have a bunch of games. So 2:45 today have Blackburn and Sunderland. So I'm trying to find oh, here we go. Blackburn plus 3, Sunderland plus 195, draw plus 250. I'm going to go with Sunderland plus 195. Huddersfield Stoke. Huddersfield plus 180, Stoke plus 150, draw plus 220. I'm going to go with Huddersfield plus 180. Hull and Leeds. Hull plus 280, Leeds minus 105, draw plus 250. I'm going to go with the draw plus 250. Millwall and Rotherham. Millwall minus 145, Rotherham plus 380, draw plus 250. Millwall's a pretty big favorite. They should be. I'm going to go over 2.5 goals plus 110. Watford, West Brom. Watford plus 115, West Brom plus 240, draw plus 220. I'm going to go with the draw plus 220. And then last but not least, 3 o'clock ESPN2, Norwich City and Leicester. Norwich plus 145, Leicester plus 175. The draw is plus 250. For this one, I'm going to go with Leicester at plus 175. In MLS, we have tonight as well. And it's a full card. All right, 7:30 CF Montreal, Cincinnati. Cincy plus 160, Montreal plus 155, draw plus 230. Cincinnati's kind of fallen off a little bit. They drew at the Union the other day. Montreal is Sun's favorite. I like Cincinnati to bounce back plus 160. Charlotte, Philly. Charlotte plus 185, Philly plus 180, draw plus 250. I'm surprised that the Union are this big of an underdog. They're 4th in the East right now. They've fallen all the way to 4th. They could still come in 2nd. Charlotte's 11th. They are 8 back. I'm going with Philly plus 180. Chicago is at Columbus. Columbus minus 240, Chicago plus 500. The draw is 4-1. I'm going to go over 3.5 goals at plus 114. DC United and Atlanta. DC plus 135, Atlanta plus 170, draw plus 280. I'm going to go with Atlanta plus 170. Miami, Toronto. Miami is a 3-1 favorite. Toronto's plus 650, draw plus 430. This is obviously boosted because of Messi. I'm going over 3.5 goals at plus 116. NYCFC Orlando from City Field. NYCFC minus 130, Orlando plus 320, draw plus 280. First one, I'm going under 2.5 goals at minus 108. Red Bulls, Austin. Red Bulls minus 140, Austin 340, draw plus 280. I'm going to go under 2.5 goals plus 108 or plus 106. 8:30, Houston, Vancouver. Houston minus 120, Vancouver 3-1, draw plus 270. First one going under 2.5 goals plus 122. KC, Nashville. KC minus 115, Nashville 290, draw plus 260. I'm going to take the draw plus 260. Don't feel good about it, though. St. Louis, LAFC. St. Louis plus 155, LAFC plus 140, draw plus 270. LAFC is the pick, plus 140. I can't believe you're getting them at a discount here. 9:30, Colorado, Seattle. Each team's plus 155, the draw's plus 240. I'm going with the draw. Salt Lake, Dallas. Salt Lake minus 135, Dallas 320, draws 280. I go under 2.5 goals plus 106. 10:30, Galaxy, Minnesota. Galaxy's even money. Minnesota plus 210, draw plus 290. I'm going with the Galaxy at even money. And last but not least, Portland, San Jose. Portland minus 130, San Jose 3-1. The draw is plus 290. I'm going to go with under 2.5 goals at plus 130. All right, college football is something that I want to talk about a little bit on today's show. Just because we have some downtime and just want to go conference by conference and talk about some stuff. All right, so we'll start in the American. So biggest surprise so far. I think Memphis being 3-0 is a surprise. I had them losing a non-con game. They do have one more non-con game left, which is this week against Missouri. But good on Memphis for being 3-0. Rice is 2-1. You got to hand it to them. The big disappointment to me is UTSA being 1-2. I thought this team was going to be amazing, potentially go undefeated during the season, but that's obviously not going to happen now. So for me, they're the biggest disappointment. And coach on the hottest seat. This is always an interesting one in each conference. But I'm going to say Mike Houston. They're 0-3. He's in his 5th year already, so I'm going to say Mike Houston's on the hottest seat. All right, the ACC, to me, the biggest surprise of the conference is Syracuse being 3-0. I only had them winning 5 games before the year. Granted, I had them winning most of their non-con games. Actually, no. I had them 2-6 in conference and then winning 3 of them in non-con. So they're 3-0 in non-con. And maybe they're going to be a surprise challenger in the conference this year. Biggest disappointment is Clemson. This is particularly the game against Duke. They're just not ranked, and quite frankly, last year might have not been a mirage after all. Coach on the hottest seat. This is an interesting one. But I am going to say the coach on the hottest seat in the conference might be Pat Narduzzi. 9 years already at Pitt. They're 1-2. They lost to West Virginia in a game where that line opened as Pitt as a favorite, and then it flipped to West Virginia as a favorite. So I think maybe Pat Narduzzi, and I feel like that might be a little stale there. The Big 12. I think the biggest surprise in the Big 12 so far, although granted, I thought this team was going to potentially surprise, but BYU, they're 3-0, and they deserve a ton of credit for it. And Kalani Sitake has done a fabulous job. Most disappointing, Baylor, they're 1-2. Losing to Texas State at home. And even a game against LIU wasn't a monster blowout. Coach on the hottest seat. I mean, you could argue Dave Aranda. You could argue Neil Brown. The answer would have been Neil Brown had they lost to Pitt. But they beat Pitt. So I'm going to go with the guy that Neil Brown replaced in Dana Holgorsen. He's in year 5 already. They're 1-2, 0-1 in the Big 12. And I can't believe Holgorsen's been there for 5 years already. So, at some point, he might have to be a fallout with Houston. So, I'm going to say Dana Holgorsen's on the hottest seat there. Big Ten. To me, the biggest surprise is Rutgers. They're 3-0. I thought that they were only going to win 4 games, and they have 3 right now. Granted, who knows, they might win one more game all season, but there's a couple of teams that I thought were going to be better, like Virginia Tech, which obviously not, which was good for Rutgers to get that win. Biggest disappointment, you have a couple of nominees for this, but I'm going to say Illinois. I had them at 7-5 before the year, and they're 1-2. And you could make a case for Purdue as well for losing to Fresno and for losing to Syracuse, but I didn't think they were going to be good anyway, so they don't count. But Illinois arguably should be 0-3, and they should have lost to Toledo. Although, you could easily argue for Purdue. You could argue for even Indiana. Michigan State with the whole scandal. And I have a new one for this. Overrated. Most overrated team, Michigan. They're 3-0, but they beat a bunch of cupcakes, and none of those games they covered, I don't think. So, I just don't like what I've seen from Michigan so far, despite being 3-0. I think they're going to lose to somebody unexpected this year. And if I had to pick an overrated Big 12 team, I would say that would be UCF. I'm just not buying them. Or you could make a case for BYU. I mean, the obvious one's Oklahoma State and then Cincinnati. But I'm going to say UCF. And then the ACC, I'd say most overrated is probably Clemson, who I talked about earlier. And in the American, my pick for most overrated so far. I mean, UTSA turns out to be overrated. But I think we all realize that. I know this is a weird one, but you could argue USF because people are going to be higher on them now that they were competitive with Alabama. So, I'm going to say them. The Big Ten coach on the hottest seat. I mean, Mel Tucker would have been the answer, obviously, but he just got fired. So, my Big Ten coach pick for the hottest seat to me has to be Tom Allen. They're 1-2. The run win was against lowly Indiana State, so that's just obvious right there. Conference USA, biggest surprise, I'm going to say Jacksonville State being 2-1. I had them going 3-9. So I'm going to say them. Most disappointing has to be UTEP. I thought UTEP was going to be a surprise player, but they only have one win on the season. You could argue New Mexico State because they lost to UMass. But I'm going to say UTEP. Most overrated team in the conference probably is New Mexico State. Because I think we thought they were going to be better, but they lost to UMass. And a coach on the hottest seat in the conference, it might have to be Dana Dimel of UTEP. 6 years, and they're disappointing 1-3. All right, Independence. To me, my big surprise is Army being 2-1. I only had them winning 3 games all year. And beating UTSA the way they did was very impressive. Most disappointing, UConn. They're 0-3 after the year they had last year. And now they're 0-3. And then the coach on the hottest seat, I don't think it's Royce Freeman. Although, I think this Saturday is the biggest regular season game that Notre Dame's had in a long time. No team that's good must win more than Notre Dame on Saturday from a reputation standpoint. They have to win on Saturday against Ohio State. It's their biggest must-win game in the regular season I can remember in a long time. But if they lose this game, then people are going to say Royce Freeman. But to me, you could argue the hot seat coach of this conference is Don Brown. If they don't win a game for the rest of the season and have that New Mexico State win, I don't know if Don Brown's going to survive. The MAC. All right. Most surprising team in the MAC so far. This is a hard one because it's mostly what we thought, but you gotta hand it to Eastern Michigan for being 2-1. Maybe they still finish in that 6-6 range, like I had them. Most disappointing to me has been Bowling Green or Akron. But I'm going to say Akron. They almost lost to Morgan State. That's all you need to know. And they should have beaten Temple. I had them on the money line in week 1. Most overrated team. Northern Illinois. That's actually pretty easy. They lost against an FCS team, Southern Illinois, so it's them. Coach on the hottest seat. To me, it has to be Maurice Linguist of Buffalo. He just isn't Lance Leipold. And it's not even close. So I'm going to say Linguist is on the hottest seat. The Mountain West. Most surprising team in this conference so far has been UNLV. They're 2-1 on the season. They beat Vanderbilt. And they took care of Bryant. They lost to Michigan, but they only lost by 28. They lose by 40. Most disappointing to me has been San Jose State. I thought they were going to be better. I after the year they had last year. Their one win came against FCS Cal Poly. Granted, their schedule is very hard. The two Pac-12 teams in USC and Oregon State and Toledo is really good, and they were competitive with Toledo, so maybe they turned it around. But that's kind of a default pick from a record standpoint. Most overrated is Boise. They're just not the Boise of old. Everybody pencils them into New Year's Six every year. But their one win came against FCS North Dakota, although a good North Dakota team. They get spanked by Washington, and then they lose at home to UCF. Coach on the hottest seat. I'm going to say the coach on the hottest seat in this conference right now is... This is a very, very hard one. Because there's a lot of newer coaches. I'm going to say Blake Anderson of Utah State. Year 3, and if you end up with a losing record, I wouldn't be shocked if there's a change. Okay, the Pac-12, the best league in America so far. It's not even close. There's a ton of undefeated teams. A lot of teams are ranked. It's the last hurrah for this league. And they might be going out with a bang. So, biggest surprise has been Colorado at 3-0. Deion Sanders has done the best coaching job in this league. Deion might be in play to leave Colorado and go somewhere else. Like, that's how crazy this is so far. Because sometimes you see coaches do that all the time, whether it's college football or college basketball. You come in and turn a team around right away, and you leave after 1 year. Like, you've seen that, especially in lower schools with Chris Beard and Arkansas Little Rock, and then he went to Texas Tech, and then he went to Texas, and then obviously, you know what happened there. But that could happen to Deion. Most disappointing team, Arizona State's 1-2. I thought that they'd be better. I thought they were going to beat Oklahoma State. And they're 1-2. So I'm going to say Arizona State for the most disappointing team in the Pac-12 so far. Most overrated team, there's a couple nominees for this. You could argue Oregon State, and you could argue Wazoo, and it's ironic because they play each other this weekend in Pullman. So you could argue those two teams. You could even argue Colorado for most overrated, but to me, wait till Travis Hunter comes back to judge them. But for overrated, I'm going to say Cal. They killed North Texas. They lose by 4 against Auburn. Then they beat FCS Idaho. Meanwhile, good Idaho team. So I'm going to say Cal's overrated. Coach on the hottest seat. To me, still Cal, Justin Wilcox. Year 7 already. And if they fall apart in conference play, he's out. The SEC. I'm going to say biggest surprise so far has been Auburn at 3-0. They deserve a ton of credit. Hugh Freeze has done a nice job. If they win this weekend against Texas A&M, they're going to be ranked going into that Georgia game. So I think Hugh Freeze has done a really nice job so far with Auburn. Most disappointing team, South Carolina. I thought they were going to be better. They have Spencer Rattler. They're 1-2. They fell apart against Georgia. Maybe they turned it on a little bit. Their one win came against a good FCS team in Furman. I'm going to say South Carolina's most disappointing. Most overrated, I'm going to say Tennessee. They just lost to Florida. I didn't think Tennessee was going to be good this year. And then they have a game that's tricky against UTSA coming up this weekend. Coach on the hottest seat, Jimbo Fisher. They lost to Miami. They have Auburn this weekend at home in a game that they arguably have to win. Then they have Arkansas, which is a winnable game. And if they lose to Alabama, lose to Tennessee, lose to Ole Miss, that's 3 more losses. It would bring them at 8-4. And an LSU. So if they finish less than 8-4, Jimbo's out. And Jimbo's already in year 6 there, which is crazy. And then the Sun Belt. Most surprising team in the Sun Belt so far has arguably been Marshall, who is 2-0 on the year. They beat East Carolina impressively, then they beat Albany, and then they have a chance to beat Virginia Tech. James Madison's been surprising again. And they beat Bucknell, Virginia, Troy. And 2 of those games were close. But they were good last year, so I'm going to say Marshall. Most disappointing so far has been I almost said Southern Miss. Can't say South Alabama. You could argue Coastal's been disappointing. But I'm not going to go there either. This is a really hard one. Not going to say App State. But I thought of it. It's Troy. They have a really good defense. They're 1-2. And then they lose to James Madison. And they get blown out by Kansas State. And their schedule is only going to get tougher. So I'm going to say Troy. Most overrated team. I have a struggle picking this as well. I mean, you could argue Louisiana for most surprising, too. But they have a wacky resume, so I don't want to go there. UL Monroe's been very surprising as well. But they did beat Army, which was impressive. And they lose bad to Texas A&M. Texas State's been surprising. The most overrated, I'm probably going to go with Southern Miss. I think people thought they were going to be better. So I'm going to say Southern Miss, although that was a hard one to gauge. Coach on the hottest seat, to me, has to be Butch Jones at Arkansas State. They got destroyed by Oklahoma, destroyed by Memphis. They beat Stony Brook. So I'm going to say Butch Jones, the coach on the hottest seat. So there you have it for college football checkup. We're going to do this in a different way next month. All right, now I'll move on to the news and notes for today. So I'm going to start with football. Let's talk about Nick Chubb. The Browns are to host Kareem Hunt after Nick Chubb's injury. That's not surprising. So Pro Football Hall of Fame nominees are out. Among first-time candidates are Julius Peppers and Antonio Gates. Other nominees include I'm trying to find Michael Vick, Tony Romo, Devin Hester. So these are nominees. Jamal Charles, Brandon Marshall, Jordy Nelson, Haloti Ngata, TJ Lang, Josh Sid, and Max Unger. And then these are really interesting names, obviously. So I guess Romo's not a first timer, which is weird. Same with Michael Vick. Nick Chubb, speaking of Nick Chubb, he may need 2 surgeries as there's preliminary talk of second knee surgery several weeks after the first. Wow. Shaq Thompson likely out for the year with a broken fibula. That's brutal for the Panthers. A trade asset potentially they could have dealt with. Saints running back Jamal Williams injures his hamstring as he may need some time to recover. That's not great for New Orleans. Brian Daboll will not rule out Saquon Barkley. As he says, his ankle feels a lot better today ahead of Thursday Night Football. A lot better yesterday. That is wild. And I mean wild. I don't expect Barkley to play. He shouldn't play. Just give him the full break until the Seattle game. You're probably not winning that game anyway. But that's wild, and I think Daboll is delusional for thinking that Barkley could play in that game. That's wild, and that injury did not look good. But at least Barkley will be back. Probably the Monday night game against Seattle, you would think. So the Padres almost did a combined no-hitter. Josh Hader allowed a single in the 9th as the Rockies broke up a no-hit bid. But there's a lot of turmoil going on with the Padres as anonymous player says Bob Melvin and A.J. Preller have an unfixable relationship. Wow. Shohei Ohtani has the elbow surgery, so he's expected to hit by opening day next year and to pitch in 2025, so he's not pitching next year, but he'll be able to hit. And then Shohei Ohtani made a post, and he ends it with "Go Halos." So maybe he wants to go back to the Angels. And the Tampa Bay Rays released the new stadium details as they confirm its new ballpark set to open in 2028 in downtown St. Pete. That's awesome for them. Some college football stuff. Deion Sanders stands up for the Colorado State player as he defends Henry Blackburn, who received death threats after his late hit on Travis Hunter. That's just sad that people were doing that to Blackburn. And of course, Deion will be the bigger person and stick up for him. I mean, you're supposed to. Because the poor guy, it was a bad hit, and I don't think he intended to hurt him. So that really stinks for Blackburn. And Deion wants his sons to stay as he doesn't seem ready for Shooter and Shiloh to enter the league. And then Dan Lanning, the Oregon coach, denies shading Deion as Lanning says that the previous comments about Colorado not winning anything is not a personal jab at Sanders. And then Sheila Sanders wanted to whoop the Henry Blackburn, as he didn't hold back when discussing Blackburn's hit on Travis Hunter. Of course, the Colorado players are trying to defend Hunter and talking crap about Blackburn. I mean, Dion said all the right things. But obviously these Colorado players are upset. And some hockey news. Steven Stamkos unhappy with his contract, as he's disappointed team hasn't discussed extension with him entering the last year of his deal. That's wild. I just don't think Steven Stamkos is any good anymore in terms of a superstar player. Him and Patrick Kane, to me, are two players that are not superstars anymore. And I think that the Lightning have to accept that with Stamkos. And I feel like they have. And there's a reason why he's not extended. I understand they won back-to-back cups, but Stamkos wasn't the best player on those teams. The best forward has been Nikita Kucherov, and then obviously you could argue their best overall player has been their goalie, Andrei Vasilevsky, and then Victor Hedman's still in his prime too. So Stamkos wasn't even one of the best three players on those Stanley Cup winning teams. I'm sorry, he hasn't, and he wasn't. And he's not one of the best three players on that team right now. Because Vasilevsky I'd rather have, Kucherov I'd rather have, and Hedman I'd rather have. And speaking of the NHL, tonight we got to do the national TV schedule podcast, and then we have to really do the player position rankings for hockey. Potentially we have to start them tomorrow, if not, definitely Monday. All right, last but not least, my best bet of the day brought to you by FanDuel. There's a lot of ways that I can deal with here. And obviously, yesterday was a loser. I'm going to do a quarter unit and this is a hard one. I think it's easier to bet on a total than a team. But I'm strongly considering the Brewers at the Cardinals, the Marlins against the Mets, and the under in the Astros-O's game. So, I rarely go against that I don't root for this team, but it's a team I talk about on the show a lot because of the audience. So I apologize to those who are fans of the New York Mets. But I'm going with the Marlins for best bet, minus 118. Laying a quarter unit on it against the Mets. Marlins minus 118. They need the game. They're battling for the wild card in the National League. And Skip Shoemaker's done an excellent job this year. To me, he's a National League Manager of the Year if they finish in a playoff spot. Maybe I'll consider it if they even finish double-digit over 500. So you got to consider that. So give me the Marlins at minus 118 against the Mets. All right, so that's it for the show. I'll be back tomorrow recapping everything, looking at everything tomorrow, including Thursday Night Football between the Niners and the Giants. And then we have the college football as well. So I hope you guys have a great day, everyone.